What's up, guys? Welcome back. So I woke up this morning and I completely stress cleaned the house, which is not out of the norm for me. I've developed a habit of needing to clean, having an intense need to clean, like really scrub whenever I am stressed. And I think that I've said plenty of times in my videos that cleanliness to me is not just for the sake of cleaning. Cleanliness is something that I need. Like, I need organization to be able to think and function. It's like my thoughts are cluttered if my space is cluttered. And when I learned that, I've always made a conscious effort to keep everything in its place. But it has recently gotten a little bit out of control. I've been in this house since March, and about 2 days ago, I finally got the damage from my water tank leaking and exploding, basically. I finally got that damage fixed, and I was feeling kind of good. I was feeling like, October is going to be a really good month, which I still think October is going to be a really good month. But I've got, drywall, paint, all of that redone. And yesterday I noticed that there was a small little wet spot on the wall, and I'm thinking, here we go again. I just got the damage to my ceiling fixed, and right where they fixed it, there is a spot, and I touch it and it's wet. So my immediate thought was, there's another leak. I didn't sit on it. I called the plumber that put in the hot water tank. They came over and handled it for me. And my first thought was, I'm going to lose my grip. Like, I'm losing my grip. If something else needs to be repaired, like, that is it for me. I have stayed strong through all of these repairs. I am not staying strong anymore. But that was like the first day, right? I'm going to allow myself to be super emotional the first day. Second day, I woke up, which is today, and I'm like, well, whatever it is, I'm going to deal with it. Like, whatever it is, I got this. Like, I got this. But I did need to stress clean because obviously my home was in shambles, and that was my mentality last night. So my space, it did portray like my internal state last night. But I was thinking as I'm cleaning, because this was going to be a totally different video, I'm thinking as I'm cleaning, like, we often talk about the trauma of our children and how we need to better ourselves and give our kids give our kids more than what we had. If we did not have a very good childhood, there was a lot of trauma and toxicity, then we should strive to be better. And there's so many things that can go wrong when you're raising kids, right? I feel like half the time I'm walking on eggshells because I know, like, what I'm doing is going to play such a huge role in who they grow up to be and how they navigate the world. And that's like a boulder sitting on your shoulders. So I always feel like, I'm walking on eggshells. But as we always talk about being very careful when it comes to raising our kids, because they can grow up and, you know, that trauma plays such a huge role in their life. I find that no one really ever talks about the trauma that we endure, right? Which sounds crazy. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, the trauma that we endure trying to do better and give our kids more. I don't think we ever talk about that. And I think that I'm really battling that. And when I say I think, I know I'm really, really battling that. And it's causing my stress cleaning to become very intense. Like if I leave a stain or a spot that I know I didn't get good, sometimes it'll wake me up in the middle of the night. And I'm like, I need to go scrub that. Or, you know, I said, sometimes I just dream about it. And I'm like, well, when I wake up, I need to make sure that I get that. I need to do it correctly. And I feel like it transfers over to how I'm raising my kids. Like, I need to do this correctly. I want to give my kids more. A lot of us, I know, we're on our financial journeys, and we're doing this because of our kids. Like, because we deserve more, but also because we want to be able to give our kids more. But the journey to giving your kids more or healing yourself and doing better is very traumatic. And I'm like, why don't we talk about that more? And I don't know if it's because it sounds very selfish. What comes to mind are like the objections to when anyone tries to voice how they're feeling as a parent, whether you're a single parent or not. You get those objections like, oh, you made the decision to have kids, so you just need to figure it out. You need to suck it up because this is the decision that you made. If you didn't want to deal with this, then you should not have had them. That's the common objection that I see. And, you know, it's said different ways, but the underlying message is always still there. So it's basically like, you don't get the chance to feel bad. You don't get the chance to have a bad day because this is the decision that you made. But I also feel like if you're feeling that way, you simply just worrying about if you're doing the right thing and if you're doing enough to give your kids more in the future, it shows that you're on the right track. Like, it's no secret. You know, a lot of the stuff that I do and have done, my kids have been the forefront of my mind whenever I'm doing those things. And they give me the motivation to continue going, even though I am the sole financial provider of my kids. So that just adds another layer to it. They motivated me. Like, they did not hinder my progression. They actually gave me more motivation and opened me up to more love, which I think is the amazing thing about being on a financial journey and having kids, is that you pull this motivation from basically an empty cup. Like, you're tired, you're stressed out, but you still keep going. Like, you have this small fire within you, and it never really goes out no matter what happens. But I won't lie and say, like, I'm always so optimistic and positive, because there's always a chance that throughout this journey, you're not going to be able to do what you set out to do. Like, there's always a chance that I'm not going to be able to set my children up in the way I want to set them up financially. And I have to come to terms with, am I going to be okay? Like, if I don't get to the specific target amount for my kids, they have some money saved and invested. My daughter is around $10,000. I don't know how much that's going to cover her come the next decade whenever she is a grown adult. But I know that that's $10,000 more, you know, than what I was given whenever I entered into the world, the adult world. I really didn't have much to go off of. And what I mean when I say this is a traumatic journey of trying to give your kids more, it's that life is a journey. We all know that life is an experience. It's temporary. We're not going to be here forever. Like, that's a fact. You can't argue about that. And life is an experience in which it's a series of traumatic, events and situations, and it molds you, and God willing, like, you gain wisdom that helps you navigate through the world. And I think even after, what comes after this, you keep that wisdom with you in your consciousness. But a lot of us didn't come from, wealthy backgrounds. We're striving for better. We're praying for better. We're working towards better. Because a lot of us, whenever we became adults, like, we were thrust out into the adult world, and we didn't have a lot of financial literacy, and we didn't have a savings or, a 529 plan or anything like that to help back us up. And so we got stuck in this trial and error phase where we were literally trying to figure it out. Like, we didn't have anyone to go to. We didn't have anything to pull from. We were literally trying to figure it out, and we gained it along the way, right? We made financial decisions that weren't the best. And from that, we learned what not to do and what to do. And then you pass that on to your kids. But that trial and error phase, it does last a while. Sometimes it lasts a lifetime, where you're an adult, you're a parent, but you're still trying to figure it out and parent yourself. And I think that is definitely where I am in life. I am still learning about myself. I'm still learning about the world. Things still don't make sense to me. Things are just now making sense to me. But in the meantime, I'm still responsible for someone else's life, like 2 people's lives, while I'm trying to figure out mine. It's a beautiful thing to take on, but it's a lot to take on. Like, when you're trying to clean up the mess that you made, that you had to make to gain the wisdom that you have now, especially surrounding your finances. You're trying to clean up your mess. At the same time, you are trying to set your kids up for success, whether that is you being able to save for them, invest for them, or just invest in their knowledge. And life is still happening. Like, life is still going on. The world is still turning. Things are still happening to you in the midst of that. And that can create a lot of trauma. It's a lot of trauma. It's a lot of, am I doing this right? It's a lot of, have I established an environment that is going to nurture them into the person that I pray that they become, which is a person of good character, morals, values, things like that? Or am I doing anything that could possibly put them into therapy? Like, are they going to have to go to therapy because of me? Like, I swear, those what if thoughts can literally keep you up at night. And I think for a lot of us, our biggest fear is our kids having to go through the same trial and error phase that we did. Because when you go through the trial and error phase, obviously, you lose out on a lot of time. You lose out on a lot of time that could be used or could have been used to propel you further in life. And you look at people who have wealth, who have passed it on to their kids. They didn't have to go through that learning curve, like that learning phase, I should say. Time is your greatest asset. You need that time, but you missed out on that time. So now you're a little further behind. Whereas when it's those who have wealth to build on, pass on to their children, actual wealth and the wealth of knowledge, they get to skip over some steps. They have something to fall back on. They have a solid foundation whenever they're leaving the house. And we know foundation is everything. It's going to make or break what you build on it. And obviously that's what we want for our kids, right? But the reality is sometimes we may not be able to give them the strongest foundation. There may be cracks. It may be have some dips in it. And you know what? I feel like that's okay. We did our best. As long as we tried our best, we did our best. We put our best foot forward. I feel like that is okay. And you know what, the greatest thing I will say when it comes to my journey, at least, is that your kids are watching everything that you do. Your kids are watching you, even if you don't feel like they're watching you, especially on your financial journey. Like, I didn't think that my daughter was really watching me when it came to my budget, but she would set a budget up to buy her doll and to buy things, and she managing her money, as far as I'm going to set 10 aside for this and $5 aside for this, or I need $20, so this is what I'm going to do to get it. Like, that comes second nature to her, because I had started my journey when she was so young. My son is still too young, and he just doesn't care, honestly. But I will use her as an example because it's amazing how much your kids absorb. And I say that, you know, when you're trying, even if things are going wrong, when you're trying and you pick yourself back up again and you keep going, like you show your kids what to do. You don't have to have a large amount of money, you know, to save and invest for your kids. Maybe you haven't even started the savings or the investment accounts for your kids, but you getting yourself and picking yourself back up again and trying to be a good steward of your finances, I feel like that's going to carry them a lot farther in life. You know, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have the knowledge to manage it properly, it's going to go into the hands of other people. It's not going to stay with you. So as I'm talking through my thoughts, because this video has no structure, the biggest lesson that I'm picking up on is that your kids need to see you trying. Like, they need to see you paying off your debt. They need to see you trying to save. They need to see you being a good steward of your money, because they're going to pick up on that. And a lot of their relationship with money first starts in the home. If we're not being good with money, if we're saying bad things about money, we don't have enough money, there's never enough money, I'm bad with money, that's going to trickle over into their relationship with money. You know, the things we say about money, how we are treating our money, the things that we are doing with our money, us saying we are never going to have enough money, or we're bad with money, like we're their heroes, right? We are their role models, and the things that we're doing and saying is going to trickle over into their relationship with money. And that's something that they're going to have to grow, be able to identify and undo. And I think that's one of my biggest fears, is that I just want to make sure that I'm showing them I have a good relationship with it, that I am talking positively about money around them, so that they have this confidence around, you know, finances. So it's not something that's intimidating. It's not something that's shameful that they have to run from. It's something empowering, and it's something that they're using as a tool. And so the best thing that we can continue doing, even though the journey is difficult, the journey is hard, you know, we're still raising ourselves, it's traumatic. I'll say it, and I will say it again. To me, it's traumatic, it's hard. Every day is a new battle to renew your mind. But it's the biggest blessing ever in life to wake up every day and have the opportunity to give your kids more. So I really do hope, for me and for you, that we continue going, that we find a new sense of motivation and inspiration to continue going, not just for our kids, but for us, because that is what we deserve. And know that any little improvement that you make, even if it's not financial, could be mindset wise, it is still a benefit. And hopefully one day when they grow older, they can look back and think back on the memories of where we are right now in our journeys, and thank us.